All right, well, hello, everybody. This is Michael Sishan, the Chief Marketing Officer at One Cosmos. I'm here today with Huzefa Olia, our Chief Operating Officer. Huzefa, welcome to our blog. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Well, I'm glad we could carve out time because just recently, One Cosmos announced the ISO 27001 certification, and I know you had a lot to do with that. Let's start off with what is ISO 27001?
So ISO 27001 is a certification. This is a certification that is issued by ISO International Standards Organization. They basically help organizations manage security of their information assets. So the entire umbrella of ISO 27001 is around how do organizations manage information security, and they provide a management framework as well, which they call ISMS, Information Security Management Systems, and that is primarily to do with managing the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of all corporate data. This includes financial information with respect to HR, any third-party related information, and especially something which is very related to a SaaS provider like us, any information that we manage for our customers and partners.
Excellent.
This entire process goes through a certification. The certification is done by an accredited third-party certification body. They gather evidence and provide the necessary evidence to if it's a customer of ours or investor or any other interested parties around how we are managing our information security according to the best practices that have been defined by ISO 27001.
Got it. So, all right. So at One Cosmos, we're amassing quite a few certifications here. We have the platform certified by FIDO2 and by Conterra for the NIST 863.3 guideline. This is a different this is a company certification, not a product certification. So why is this important?
So the most important reason is, I would say to protect us from any kind of a security threat. Right? These can be any security threats from outsiders, from data breaches that may happen, as well as any internal actors, that may cause any errors or any mistakes. So ISO 27001's framework ensures that we have the tools in place that also goes across all the three pillars of cybersecurity: people, process, and technology, and making sure that we have our documented best practices as well as fail-safes in place to avoid any mistakes that may happen. Right. The other area is to improve, I would say, structure and focus in an organization. Most often what happens is information security is defined, but it gets forgotten or it goes into the background. When you're certified with ISO 27001, right, it makes sure that information security becomes part of your daily operation. Any function that you're performing, it is with the mindset of information security, and we are responsible for it as well. Every year we go through risk assessment, right, that has been conducted again by a third party to make sure that we are conforming to the standard as well. And then there are other areas as well. I mean, we are very, very thankful, for our partners, who work with us, and this certification is also to show that the trust that our customers as well as partners have shown with us, right? So if there are cyber attacks that are happening, most of the organizations that are in the in headlines because of that, right? And having an organization like One Cosmos, which is ISO 27001 certified, it follows ISMS, right? It means that we're taking information security very, very seriously.
Got it.
Right? And the last point I would make, right, is more with respect to compliance, right? This entire framework is based on best practices, and it takes into account a lot of common best practices which are there in GDPR, HIPAA, and multiple different regulations. So again, it makes sure that we are not going to be in non-compliance with data protection requirements, which are mentioned in any of these different regulations.
But I've worked for several companies that haven't bothered to get ISO certified. So, what's the role of this ISO 27001 cert in terms of supporting a high growth company as we are?
Yeah, it goes back to the point that information security would become very much central to the core of everything that we would do. Right? When it comes to onboarding an employee or offboarding a contractor, we want to make sure that we have the right security pieces in place. When it comes to any of our cloud operations that we would do, again, they would be based on our best practices. When it comes to designing any of the functionality, it's again based on best practices and standards. So if you notice, it's every aspect of our organization is following the guidelines as well as best practices that have been defined by this particular certification. Right? And most important, it is for us is that it's not something like a policy that's been written once and forgotten. Right? We are making sure that we are managing this on a day-to-day basis, as well as annually. All of this process are reviewed by a third party who come in and certify us and let us know that how we are managing our own internal policies when it comes to this particular standard of framework.
Okay. All right. So how does this impact operations?
So great question. So it means that our best practices that we have documented, right, they are systemized, right, to support a high growth organization like ours. We have eliminated any variances from our processes. We ensure that all our processes across all our different functions and departments are templatized and documented. Now, all of this also is collected as evidence, which is reviewed by a third party on an annual basis for conformance. Right? So on an annual basis, we are always looking at the process that we have in place, evidence that has been collected, and then we're making changes to improve efficiency as well.
Got it. Okay. Well, with this one, all wrapped up, what's next?
So our cycle for certification still continues, right? We are looking at getting SOC 2 Type 2 certified. Right? It's going to be coming in the early part of the next year. We're also looking at certification for our biometrics capabilities, but they are very, very integral to our offering. We are FIDO2 certified today. We are IAL as well as AAL certified, right? And we want to keep increasing certifications based on all of these accredited bodies as well.
That's awesome. Sounds all very interesting. So I appreciate you taking time to talk to us today, Josefa.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.